So, there's not many times that I've come out the cinema and had the same feeling I did after watching Elvis. Hoo-hoo. Elvis. So, Elvis is the new film directed by Baz Luhrmann, which is an Elvis biopic. And in the film, we see Austin Butler play Elvis, and we see the rise and the fall of the world-famous artist. Whilst at the same time, though, the film is told from Colonel Tom Parker's perspective, and he is played by Tom Hanks in the movie, and he was Elvis' manager. And we see how important he was and how vital he was for Elvis' career. But we also see how he was a downfall for Elvis as well. And that's basically the plot of the movie. I mean, there's a lot more to it than that, but that's essentially the plot of the film. And honestly, I absolutely love this movie. I just think it's so good. And I haven't felt this excited about talking about a movie in such a long time. It's so brilliant. And I watched it a couple of hours ago, and I came out of the cinema just absolutely speechless. It's just amazing. Like, it really is, and it's my new favourite film of the year. Like, I love The Phantom of the Opera, I love The Northman, and I love The Batman. By the way, what a weird top 3 films of the year so far, but still, I love all those movies. But at the same time, though, this one's better. This one's better than all 3 of them. It's just so brilliant, and it's a masterpiece. It's astonishing. It's so well made. The performance is all incredible. The songs in the movie leap off the screen in the best way possible, and it is just... It's so good. I can't recommend it enough. Honestly, if there's one movie you're gonna go and watch in June or July, make it this one. It's just... It's so brilliant, it really is. And this is all coming from me, who's not an Elvis fan. I'm not an Elvis fan. I barely listen to his music before I watch the movie. I mean, I must admit, I have been listening to one of his songs recently, Burning Love, because I saw it on Spotify and thought, oh, actually, I might check it out just before I see the film, just so I know a bit of his music. Then, I kind of got addicted to that one song, Burning Love. It's a great song, by the way, Burning Love. I can't do an Elvis impression whatsoever, and I failed there miserably. But still, I'm not really into Elvis that much. But watching this movie, I just felt like I kind of knew him, but just in the best way possible. You really get to kind of dive into who he was. And I love that about it. Kind of the same way that when you watch Rocket Man, you kind of feel like you know Elton John. Well, at least I do anyway after watching that movie. Same way with Bohemian Rhapsody, after you watch that movie, you kind of feel like you know Freddie Mercury a bit more. And in Love and Mercy, when you watch that, you kind of feel like you know Brian Wilson, the lead singer and songwriter of the Beach Boys. You feel like you know him a bit more. And that's the same thing here. When I watched Elvis, I kind of felt like I really knew who he was. And I was told this amazing story. I'm kind of speechless now just talking about it, because I couldn't believe how good it was. I really couldn't. And also now it's my new favourite biopic, and I love Bohemian Rhapsody to pieces. I don't care what anyone says. I think that movie is spectacular. I think it's so good. And I think Rocket Man is a lot of fun. I'm also a huge fan of Love and Mercy, and that's a really interesting movie. And also I'm a fan of Get On Up. I think Get On Up is a wonderful movie, and I think it has Chadwick Boseman's best performance in there. And there's a load of other biopics as well, which I'm a huge fan of. But at the same time, though, this is better than them all. Honestly, it's so brilliant. I can't get over how good it is. I really can't. I'm going to ramble on about how good it is now, because it's amazing. It's spectacular, it's astonishing, and it's such an amazing piece of filmmaking. It really is. Like, I do like Baz Luhrmann movies. I mean, I haven't seen many of his, I must admit. I sounded there like I've seen quite a few of his films. Like, I'm a huge fan of Baz Luhrmann movies. I've seen them all. No, I haven't seen all of Baz Luhrmann films. In fact, I haven't seen the majority of them. But I have seen Moulin Rouge. I'm a huge fan of Moulin Rouge. I do think it's a tad bit self-indulgent and a tad bit too long, but I think it's a great movie overall. And also, I'm a fan of his version of Romeo and Juliet, the one with Leonardo DiCaprio and things like that. I'm a fan of his version of Romeo and Juliet quite a bit. I think it's a great movie. I don't care what anyone says. I think it's great. I think it's the best, William Shakespeare adaptation that I've seen film-wise, but still... Yes, I'm a fan of Baz Luhrmann overall, from the 2 films that I've seen. I mean, he's great filmography, the 2 films I've seen, I'm a fan of both of those. But, they're his most famous films, nevertheless, though. Like, Moulin Rouge, I watched a couple of weeks ago, and I loved that movie, I thought it was great. But this movie's better. This is the best Baz Luhrmann film I've seen. Honestly, it's so well made. And like, Baz Luhrmann's style perfectly, married it up to this storytelling about Elvis. It really does. Like, you're watching it like, oh my god, this is the way things are working here. This is the way Baz Luhrmann is telling this story of, this part of the story of Elvis' life here. It's so amazing the way he's doing it. And the storytelling is so rich, but at the same time, though, it's also so, close, it's so intimate. And I really like that about it. It's a big film. Honestly, it looks like an expensive movie as well. Like, one of the things I absolutely adore about this film is it looks expensive. I miss when films look expensive nowadays. I really do, because there's so many films nowadays which are sort of, the green screen in the background and things like that, and they don't look as expensive as they should do. But this movie looks expensive, whether it's a huge giant set pieces, whether it's a costume design, whether it's a 50s, 60s, 70s aesthetic, and just everything about this movie looks expensive, but in the best way possible. Kind of the same way you want from a Baz Luhrmann film. Like, Moulin Rouge looks expensive, and Romeo and Juliet looks expensive, but this looks like the most expensive of all the Baz Luhrmann films, but in the best way possible. It looks expensive, and it's so good. I love that about it. I was watching thinking, no, this is what films should look like. Honestly, they're all films nowadays, even ones I like, even ones I love, they're all films nowadays. Why can't you look more like this? Why can't you have cinematography that looks more like this? Why can't you have a film which looks expensive? I mean, I don't know how expensive this film was, I don't know the production budget, but still, why can't you have a film which looks as expensive as it is like this? Why can't you have a film which leaps out the screen in the best way possible, has this like rich storytelling, they're all films. Look at this one for how to make a movie. It's so good. And Baz Luhrmann's direction is brilliant. I do feel it's at his best. And I know some people, aren't a fan of Baz Luhrmann's direction. It's fair, fair enough. I understand why. Because I did see a funny tweet earlier on on Twitter when someone said, in a Baz Luhrmann film, it does kind of feel like a camera is attached to a tumble dryer. And it does feel like that, especially in Moulin Rouge, and in this film as well, in the big concert scenes and things like that. But it works in this movie. It kind of betrays all the hecticness of the concerts where you see Elvis there, and it really works. It really does, like, Baz Luhrmann's style, and I mean this, I really, really do. Baz Luhrmann's style perfectly matches up to the story that's being told in this movie. And I love that about it. And also, I love how, it kind of got like new songs infused in there, like some of Elvis' remixes, which are infused in this movie, and also got a bit of like rap in there and things like that, which I really like to hear. It's kind of like modern music infused, 50s, 60s, and 70s music, and obviously Elvis' music as well, which I thought worked really well. Normally that wouldn't work for me, and the first time it happened to me, I was like, I'm not sure if I'm a big fan of that, but then it carried on throughout the film, and it still worked to me. So, I really enjoyed how Baz Luhrmann and the sound editors of the movie kind of infused, new modern day music with Elvis music and, music from the 60s and the 50s and things like that. I thought that worked really well. And also I like the fact that, there isn't a lot of scenes where we see Elvis sing from what I can remember. I mean, I've only seen the film once, a couple of hours back now, and maybe I need more time to reflect on it a bit more, but still, from what I can remember, there isn't, tons and tons and tons of scenes that we see Elvis sing in this movie. We see Austin Butler's Elvis sing, but the scenes where we do see him sing, they're just amazing. Like, there's one scene where we see him sing after the assassination of Bobby Kennedy in the movie, and it is literally like, wow. Just the way Austin Butler plays Elvis is phenomenal. It's truly phenomenal. And if that guy doesn't at least get nominated for an Oscar for his performance in the movie, I don't know what the Academy is anymore. I really don't. Like, I haven't seen Austin Butler much. I know he had that small role in, Quentin Tarantino's Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I remember him in that movie. I remember him being quite fun. Must admit, not a huge fan of that movie, but I enjoyed him in there, in that little moment he was in that movie. But at the same time, though, he is just brilliant. And Tom Hanks, like, this is unlike Tom Hanks you've ever seen before. Like, I love Tom Hanks. I mean, who doesn't? He's so good in everything he's in. Whether it's Catch Me If You Can, whether it's Forrest Gump, whether it's Sleepless in Seattle, whether it's Philadelphia. He's such an amazing actor. And so many roles I just haven't mentioned. Like, so many roles. But at the same time, though, oh my god. This is unlike any Tom Hanks performance you've seen before. He plays the villain. He plays Elvis' manager, and he plays the villain of the movie. and he is amazing. He really, really is. And, you know, maybe it's not a career best from Tom Hanks, but bear in mind, we are talking about Tom Hanks, the same guy who did Saving Private Ryan, the same guy who did Philadelphia, the same guy who did You've Got Mail. Okay, maybe You've Got Mail is not the best. Maybe it's not the best one to put in that list, but still, you get the point I'm trying to make. Tom Hanks is an amazing actor, and that it's reinforcing this movie in just the best way possible. It really is, and I instantly believed him as a character he was playing, as a real life person he was playing, should I say? And also, I instantly believed Austin Butler as Elvis. I haven't seen much footage of Elvis in the past, but from what I have seen, I just thought he played him perfectly. And also, you do actually get a bit of like stock footage of the real life Elvis put into this movie, and it's kind of matched up with Austin Butler's Elvis as well. And I do think it just works for one. It just shows you how similar Austin Butler's performance is to actually the real life Elvis in this movie, and how perfect it is at just playing that amazing artist. And like, I just loved it. I can't tell you enough how much I adored this movie, and how the music was great as well. Like, I've already spoken about the music a bit before, but also there's a great score in the background which quotes past Elvis piece of music. You know, there's one piece of music in the movie which I remember quite distinctly, where you see scenes between, Priscilla and Elvis, and it kind of has, the chords for, I can't help falling in love with you, just faintly playing in the background, and it's so good. It's just moments like that where you're like, wow, that is just such a nice addition to this movie. And also, I forgot to mention, the one who plays Priscilla is so good in the film, and I instantly believed her, and she was just, all the performances are fantastic. You instantly believe them. You never feel like you're watching an acted performance. Even when you have someone like Tom Hanks in there, one of the most famous, movie stars in the world, even when you've got someone like Tom Hanks in there, you don't feel like you're watching Tom Hanks. You feel like you're watching the person he's playing. Which, again, I've spoken about before in past reviews on the channel, but that sounds like quite a small thing, but it's actually quite a big thing, especially when you have someone like Tom Hanks in this film. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out. And I love the aesthetic as well. I love how it looked like it take place in the 50s, the 60s, and the 70s. And also, I like seeing, other stars pop in there, like Darcy Montgomery popped up in there as well. And obviously, quite a lot of people know Darcy Montgomery from playing Billy in season 2 and 3 Stranger Things. And I quite liked him in that show, by the way. I really enjoyed the character he played. I thought he played quite well. But he's great in the film as well. When he popped him, I was like, oh, that's the guy who played Billy in Stranger Things season 2 and 3. But again, he instantly just falls into the character he plays. And just the aesthetic is great. And the feeling of the film is great. You feel like you're going on this journey. You feel like you're going on this journey with Elvis. And I just think it's done so well. It throws you straight in, which, isn't going to be for some people, but was for me. And I thought it was amazing. It was an experience in the end. The best films I experienced, much like The Northman, which I came out and said, that movie is an experience. It didn't feel like a film, it felt like an experience. Elvis felt like an experience. And just in the most amazing way possible. As for criticisms, I don't have many. And I'm only mentioning criticisms here because, I once heard a film reviewer say that the best film critics, the best film reviewers, will watch a film they love and criticise something about it, and the best ones will also watch a film they hate and say something they love about it. And so I'm doing that here. I'm talking about a film I adore to pieces. I adore the film to pieces, and I can't wait to watch it again. But yes, I am still going to criticise it a little bit. There's moments of CGI and their visual effects which did look a bit ropey. I maybe didn't need a bit more touching on. Maybe the budget was spent on the huge set pieces, I don't know. But still, there's moments of CGI in there which was a bit off-putting. If I'm going to say anything, it's not a huge thing though. It didn't hugely bother me, but still, there were cool moments of CGI like, yeah, that's clearly CGI in the movie. And also, at the same time though, it does jump around a bit in the first act of the movie, and sometimes it just takes a bit of adjusting to. But again, these are small criticisms. They didn't hugely bother me. They really didn't. Much like when I watched Edgar Wright's Last Night in Soho, I came out of that movie and went, wow, that was just, I was speechless. I had the same immense and just triumphant feeling coming out of this movie. Honestly, I wanted to cry about this film. And I barely knew anything about Elvis going into this movie. A couple hours ago, about 5 hours ago, I knew barely anything about Elvis. And I got to the end of the movie, so I got to the end, I got to the final scenes of the movie, and I was almost crying. And that takes a lot for me to do that with a movie. The only times I remember crying with a film in the past, or almost crying, was Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And also, I remember almost crying. I don't know, I haven't really cried in much films, to be honest. I just remember doing that Lord of the Rings, but at the same time, though, I haven't really cried in much films at all. But I was getting very emotional at the end of this movie. And again, I knew barely anything about Elvis, but just seeing those final moments where, not to get too away here, but when he's singing Unchained Melody, I think that's what the name of the song is, Unchained Melody, I was just sitting there going, oh God, I'm about to cry because it's such an emotional roller coaster, but in the way you want it to be. I love that about it. I love how it's intimate, rich storytelling, and it's made it go on this emotional roller coaster. Like the first time you see Elvis perform, which is in the trailers and things like that, you know, you're just thrown into it, and I instantly believed it. I was just immersed into the movie, and I loved that so much about it. And also, like I said before, I barely knew anything about Elvis going to this movie. And now I just want to listen to Elvis music over and over again. I actually listened to it a bit on the bus coming home from the cinema today. Like, I listened to Suspicious Minds, and also I listened to Burning Love, which I think did a great song already, Jailhouse Rock, and just, oh God, his music's so good. I can't think of any off the top of my head right now, because like before, about 5 hours ago, I wasn't an Elvis fan, but now I am now, and I want to listen to more and more of his music going forward, and it's just, God. I loved it. It's my new favourite biopic, and I adore Bohemian Rhapsody's pieces as well. But I adore this film more, and at the same time though, it's so well directed. It's clearly a Baz Luhrmann movie, which won't be for everyone, but was for me. I love Moulin Rouge, and I love his version of Romeo and Juliet as well, and I love this movie. I'm going to go actually watch a couple more Baz Luhrmann films now, definitely, because, you know, I'm a huge fan of this film. I think the performances are incredible. I think Tom Hanks and Austin Butler, you know, deserve Oscars for this film, and I also think the aesthetic is brilliant. I just think the storytelling is done so well. I love, like, the little intimate moments of details we're getting, like, even so, it's expansive moves, a lot of cuts, a lot of editing in there, like a Baz Luhrmann film has. You know, there's quite a lot of frenetic editing in this movie. It's come from, you know, scene to scene to scene to scene, like many Baz Luhrmann films do, and sometimes the editing is kinetic and things like that. Even so, it's a fast-paced movie. It does slow down for those emotional moments, and that's where the film works. When it really catches you off guard, and you have this triumph moment when you actually, you know, you're bobbing your head to the song, or you're tapping your foot to the song that's just happened, and then you realise how emotional it is. Like, there are quite a few moments in the movie where I'll be tapping my foot along to the song that was taking place on screen, to the just watching the performance, and it's just, I can't say enough good things about this film. I really can't. It's so good. I absolutely love it. It's astonishing, it's brilliant, and from someone like me, who's not an Elvis Presley fan, who wasn't an Elvis Presley fan before I saw this film, I couldn't believe how good it was. I really couldn't, and it is now my new favourite film of 2022. And the reason I like it over the Batman, by the way, is because I love the Batman again. I love that film to pieces, but the Batman's a dark and gritty movie, both in tone and in lighting. And I mean, I love that about that film, because I think it perfectly captures Gotham in that movie. But in this movie, this is visuals. It's spectacular, it's colourful, it's, you know, the sort of visual leap off the screen and really catch you off guard and go, this is what a film should look like. It's expensive, but in the way so many films should be, and it's just, it's amazing. It really is. And I absolutely loved it. I truly did. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Elvis, I'm going to say it's a 10 out of 10. I don't think I've given a 10 out of 10 on this channel for a very long time. And I'm doing it again here because, you know, I came out of this movie speechless. I was walking around the town where I live after I saw the movie, and I was kind of walking around a bit of a daze, like, wow, it was just an experience. It didn't feel like a film. Like, I watch films I love and films I really enjoy, but they'll feel like movies, if you get what I mean. But this one didn't. Like The Northman, like The Batman, those films didn't feel like films in my opinion. And that's the same way I feel about Elvis. My favourite films of the year don't feel like films, which they shouldn't do. I think the best films just immerse into the world and you get carried along with it. And oh, I love films like that. I really do. And I just think it's a spectacular piece of filmmaking. I think it's an amazing piece of filmmaking. I can't wait to see this film again. I'm currently recording this video on Friday, a couple hours since I saw the movie. And I'm going to go and watch it again on Sunday or Monday. I haven't decided yet. But I can't wait till I do. The performances are so good. I love the way the storytelling is done. I think the filmmaking is amazing. I think it's Baz Luhrmann's best film. Yes, I haven't seen loads of his movies, but still, I think this is his best movie. And that's including Moulin Rouge, which I have seen, by the way. I think this is better than Moulin Rouge. And I think the concert scenes are done so well. I think the set piece is incredible. I think it teaches you a lot about Elvis's life, because again, I didn't know much about Elvis going into the movie. I didn't know anything about Elvis going into the movie. And then I watched it, and I feel like I know a lot more now, and I definitely want to watch it again, and I'm going to know more and more going forward, because I will be watching this time and time again. And yes, it's long. It's like 2 hours 40 minutes. It is a long movie, but that didn't bother me because I felt like I went on this journey with these characters. I felt, well, they're not these characters, but these real life people. I felt like I went on this journey with Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker, and just I really loved that about this movie. Just getting to the end and seeing all the big emotional moments, and just there's so many parts of the film I kind of sat there like, okay, it can't get any better than this. It can't get any better. Then 5 minutes later, I was like, okay, it can't get any better than this. It can't get any better. 5 minutes later, okay, it can't get any better than this. It can't get any better. 5 minutes later, it can't get any better than this. Okay, it's just got better. It's just things like that which just make me love it. And sure, like I said before, it is a long movie, but there's nothing I would edit out of there. There's nothing I would edit out of this movie. And I really, really love it. It felt like a fever dream, and just in the most amazing way possible. It felt like an experience as well. It didn't even feel like a film. It felt like an experience, and in the best way possible. And I absolutely love it. It's my new favourite film of 2022 so far, and I think it's absolutely amazing. And so, all in all, I'm going to say that Elvis, I'm going to say that it's a 10 out of 10 from me. Anyway guys, what do you think of Elvis? Please leave a comment down below. I'll know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, thank you as always for watching, and if you haven't yet, please click down below and like and subscribe on this video, and look forward to many more both film and TV reviews come very soon on this channel. See you guys again soon, but bye for now. Bye!